Welcome to the Pulse with Peter B. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano, and this is your one-stop shop for sports picks, politics and government chatter, and even some neighborhood restaurant reviews. Instead of going to 3 different channels, you can come here every week for the Pulse on everything you need to know. And as I mentioned on my social media platform earlier this week, we have a very special show here from the Prudential Center. We are starting to cover Seton Hall men's basketball, and joining us for our inaugural show is the master of ceremonies for any type of sports picks, and that is Mr. Matt Waymeyer, former NBC sports reporter and News 12 sports anchor, and more importantly, Pulse Sports Insider.
Absolutely.
Matt, what's going on, brother?
I am thrilled to be back, and like you said, what a backdrop we have. Seton Hall basketball, number 13 in the country. It's going to be a packed house at the Prudential Center, and I can't wait for this one.
I can't wait either. And I can't think of anybody else to have with me for the first show than you. So, Matt, why don't we jump in right to those number 13 Pirates? It's probably one of the best rankings in probably school history, if you think about it. Do you think the pressure is going to get on this team, though?
No way.
No way. Why not?
Because these kids, and I'm old enough to call them kids now, which is a frightening thought, but these kids, they've been working towards this their entire collegiate careers. When they came in as, a heralded freshman, slash sophomore class, this is what you ascend to. This is where you want to be. You want to be in a team that wants to make that deep run into March, win a Big East title, maybe get to the Final Four. So, being 13th in the country, is that pressure? No way. This is what you want, especially when you're an upperclassman, a junior, a senior. You don't want to be playing out the string for no reason.
Right.
You want to take the court with a purpose. You want to get out there every day and know that, we can do something special and we have a chance to make a deep run into March.
That's awesome, and that's absolute. Now let's look at some of these players on this team, because we all know who Miles Powell is.
Absolutely.
I mean, he won all of these preseason accolades, first team All-American, Big East first team as well, but this team is pretty deep. I mean, they got Mamakulishvili, who we love saying his name, Sandro Mamakulishvili. They have Jared Rhoden. They have Quincy McKnight. But also, this team is very big. I mean, they have 2 of these centers that are over 7 feet tall, in Romero Gill and Ike Obiagu.
You nailed it.
We were practicing that a lot before the show, I swear, folks. What do you think of the supporting cast of Miles Powell?
Well, I mean, you said it. You have your superstar in Powell's, but, a team cannot succeed on one superstar alone. And you brought up the other names. Sandro Mamakulishvili, I nailed that one too.
Yeah, I did. Pretty good.
5 points, 6.5 rebounds per game. So he's a big presence in the paint. You mentioned the size in Gill and Obiagu, both at 7'2". I mean, these guys, not just 7 footers.
I thought we were tall, man.
I did too. We're point guards compared to them.
Exactly.
They easily clear 7 feet. And I know that basketball in 2019 is all about, 3-point shooting, spacing the floor, and there's a de-emphasis these days on production in the paint, but you still need guys who can protect the rim, who can intimidate, quite frankly. You don't want guys feeling like they can drive to the rim. If you got a couple of 7-footers in the paint, you're not going to go there. So that's a big component for this team. I like the size, I like the depth, and they've got all the components necessary to really do something special.
That's awesome. It really, really is. And they start. This is the 5th game of the season here, and they've started pretty special.
Yeah.
I mean, they're off to a 3-1 start. Of course, the only loss coming to the number 3 Michigan State Spartans.
Hang your head about that.
I was here as a fan that game. I'm not gonna tell you who I was rooting for, but you can kind of guess from the ring that I wear.
Right.
Exactly. I was here that game, Matt, and it felt like March in here. I mean, the building was absolutely rocking.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was a yeoman's effort, I think, by this Seton Hall team, which is ranked a little lower than Michigan State, of course. Last Sunday, crushed St. Louis.
Right.
St. Louis is a team that really had their number in the last few years, crushed them on their home court.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they were up by 30 at one point in that game. I mean, this team has lived up to the number 13 ranking, correct?
What impressed me was how they responded to the Michigan State loss, more than the Michigan State game itself, and they played very well.
Right.
But a lot of teams, when you lose a game like that, you might lose some confidence, you might lose some swagger. These guys said basically, screw that.
Right.
We know we're good. We know we should have beat Michigan State, and we're going to take it out on St. Louis.
Right.
And they did. Like you said, heading into that game, they had never beaten St. Louis, or they were on a long losing streak against the Billikens. They were undefeated. St. Louis was at home, and Seton Hall just wiped the floor with them from start to finish. So, like I said, that response to a tough loss, it's one of those intangibles that you're going to need come March, because when you get to March Madness, look, every team is good. Every team is talented. But if you have those attributes of toughness, competitiveness, and a way to bounce back from adversity, that can put you over the top. That can make the difference between cutting down the nets and crying in your locker room, quite frankly. So already, through 4 games, we've seen those traits exhibited by Seton Hall that can pay huge dividends down the road.
And we spoke about this a little earlier when we spoke about the supporting cast on Seton Hall. But what we spoke about was, and it was, I think it actually showed during the St. Louis game, if you would agree or not. I mean, Miles Powell had a big game, but he wasn't the spotlight wasn't on him, if you know what I'm saying.
Right.
I mean, it was like a quiet 20 whatever points it was during that game.
Hardly broke a sweat.
Exactly. It looked like he hardly broke a sweat. Because the supporting cast was there. They were upset after that Michigan State game, and then they took it from there. So now let's move on, because as you can see, we have the Florida A&M Rattlers behind us. The Rattlers, baby. They are from the Middle Eastern Athletic Conference. I just want the MEAC. The MEAC. That's what we were saying. The MEAC. Exactly. So they started the season a little slow, 0-4. They are huge underdogs in today's game. Huge underdogs, of course, to the number 13 Pirates.
Right.
What do they have to do to keep this game just competitive, let's just say, Matt?
I thought long and hard about this when you posted it to me a couple days ago. And I don't want to say it too loud because they're a couple feet away.
No.
They better hope that every member of that Seton Hall team comes down with pneumonia in the next 30 minutes. Because short of that happening, it's not going to happen. But look, having said that, we saw about a week and a half ago the number 1 team in the country at that time.
That's right.
Kentucky.
That's right.
They got number 1 by beating Michigan State, who Seton Hall just came up short against. But they were number 1. They were home. They played Evansville, who up until a week and a half ago nobody had ever heard of outside of Indiana. Evansville beat them. So it's college basketball. We've seen upsets. You never know. A team gets hot. The other team gets cold. Anything that can happen. I don't think it will today. But again, when everybody saw Evansville beat the number 1 team in the country on their home floor, it just goes to show you never know. So Seton Hall cannot take this one for granted. They got to come out with the same intensity and fire that they had against Michigan State, and it shouldn't be a problem.
Exactly. And would you agree? I mean, look, these are athletes. They're college athletes. There's still some competitiveness no matter what. I mean, I'm sure they read all the headlines.
Yeah.
I'm sure they looked at all the, they heard all the whispers and so on and so forth. I mean, and they're going to give it their 110%. And I think you're right. I think Seton Hall needs to come out like they did against Michigan State, and then there shouldn't be a problem with this. Maybe the first 10 minutes it might be a little close. We shall see. Are you excited?
I'm pumped.
I'm excited. So for a ball,
standing courtside of the Prudential Center.
Exactly, with this amazing view behind us. Exactly. It really, really is. Folks, we are also going to be here for post-game. We might have some comments from Coach Willard of Seton Hall, who's, by the way, had 10th season. What a phenomenal job, right? Completely turned around the program.
I mean, 4 straight NCAA tournament appearances, a Big East tournament title a couple of years ago. No reason to think that he can't repeat all those accolades this year.
It's absolutely amazing, and probably one of his better teams that he had in his 10 years.
Maybe the best.
Maybe the best. Arguably the best. Again, it's performed on the court, right, Matt? It absolutely is. So we'll have some post-game analysis when we come back. You guys have to stay for maybe like a 30-second commercial. We're going to be here for the next 2.5 hours, trying to get post-game content for you. You're not going to want to miss it. Stay tuned, everybody. We're hoping to do this all season long. Matt, are you willing to do this all season long with me?
Twist my arm? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I just twisted his arm. Matt Waymeyer will be back with us post-game. We will be right back. Peter Biancamano, you're a hostess with the mostest of the Pulse of Peter B. Folks, don't forget to go on our Facebook page by liking and following us there by typing in The Pulse with Peter B in your search bar. It's so simple. Why wouldn't you do it? And don't forget also to go on our Instagram page by following us there. We're constantly updating both pages with behind-the-scenes photos and even some Q&A. You're not going to want to miss it. We will see you soon. Welcome back to the Postal, Peter Irby. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano, still here with Sports Insider Matt Waymeyer. Matt, the game is over. They're setting up for some New Jersey Devils hockey.
And we can tell because the temperature dropped about 25 degrees from the start of the game, so they're definitely getting ready for the Devils.
Exactly. So we're going to try to move very, very quickly, or else we might, turn blue or something like that. So it was a 36-point victory for the Seton Hall Pirates today. 87-51, but at halftime it was only a 12-point game, and you and I were kind of looking at each other, and we said, this is going to be maybe closer than we thought.
Yeah, I mean, listen, their last two games being Seton Hall, they had that narrow loss against Michigan State right here at the Rock. Then they go to St. Louis against a team that had given them trouble over the years, and they blow them out. So you're talking about two high-energy, high-intensity games back-to-back. And no disrespect to Florida A&M, but like you said, it's a non-conference team, a nondescript team. It's a noon tip-off, and it's human nature that you're not going to get up for those games as some of the other marquee matchups that the Pirates were coming off of. So you could forgive them a little bit for not having the energy at 100% like they did for the other games. But like you said, 12-point game of the half, not where you thought the game would be. They turned up the intensity a couple notches in the second half, and it ended up being a 36-point blowout. But like you said, for a while, it was not the Seton Hall team that we're accustomed to seeing.
Exactly, until the end of the game. And Coach Willer said it. I mean, one of the things that we were listening to in the post-game press conferences, he mentioned, he was like, look, it's a noon start. Yep. We had a huge crowd show up, almost a sellout for this lower bowl that they opened for the non-conference games, for Seton Hall games, close to 10,000 people. Yep. And they were sleepwalking for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, so it just goes to show you that no matter who your opponent is, you better show up.
Yeah, you better show up, and they did show up in the second half. They implemented the full court press. They played a little better defense in the half court. They got the turnovers that they're accustomed to getting, and things turn around in quite a hurry. But we talked to some players after the game, and they even said, it doesn't matter who is the opponent. It doesn't matter who's on the other bench. This is college basketball. Everybody is going to bring it all the time, and even against a team coming in that was 0-4, Seton Hall had their difficulties with them. So it's a lesson learned that, look, if you're going to come out that way against an 0-4 team, how's it going to look when you face some of the marquee teams like they're going to face in the Bahamas? That could give them trouble. I think hopefully a lesson learned for them.
Exactly, and two of those players were actually Quincy McKnight and Ike Obiagu. So why don't we go to their sound to hear what they have to say when Matt asked them about complacency.
I think our younger guys, they're starting to realize that now you can't let up at any point in this in a basketball game, especially at this level, no matter who you're playing. They're going to keep fighting no matter what, and that's what they did today. First half, we got a little complacent, and we let them back in a little bit. Coach came in the halftime, and Coach got in this a little bit. We watched the film, and we didn't look like ourselves on the film, and that's not what we want. We want to play our basketball every game, no matter who we're playing, because that's what we know we're going to win. We play our basketball. And it happens, but it's something that we're trying to get out of our systems now than rather later when we play better teams and we get into crunch time, Big East, and NCAA time.
Yeah, most definitely. Like sometimes, it's hard to when you're up by so much in a game and it's just like a let up, you just feel relief. But there's no times of relief because in college basketball anything can happen. There's been big upsets all year long, exactly like Kentucky and Evansville. It's just no let up. So you always got to keep your foot on the pedal, to be honest.
So as you can see, they kind of heard that they were a little complacent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
human nature.
It certainly is.
It's human nature.
It's certainly, especially when you go up by 18 in the first half.
Yeah.
Now, we spoke about free throws a lot. And you asked Coach Willard regarding Miles Powell. He wasn't at the line as much as he's accustomed to, let's just say. Let's see what Kevin Willard has to say.
He took 9 threes, so half his shots were threes technically. He got to the rim a couple times, but, we got in from St. Louis was pretty big and physical, and obviously Michigan State's pretty big and physical. I just think, he just missed some things.
I don't know if you want to follow up on what Coach Willard had to say there.
Well, it was interesting because Miles had 22 field goal attempts and 9 of those from beyond the arc. So you're talking about 13 non-3-point attempts. So in that context, it makes a little more sense that he didn't get to the line as often as he's accustomed to. But still, it was quite a disparity because going into today, 8 free throw attempts per game, which is one of the top figures in the nation. Only 2, and they really came in garbage time when the outcome of the game was really decided. So I think you got to give A&M a little bit of credit here because they turned Powell into a perimeter-oriented player, and the guy can shoot the lights out of the gym. He's done that. He did it today. He's done it before. But anytime you have a dynamic player like that and you can keep him out of the paint and off the free throw line, that's a boon for your defense. So even though Florida A&M lost by 36, I think that's a little feather in their cap that they kept a guy like Miles Powell, athletic as he is, off the free throw line, and that's something that maybe they can build off of.
Exactly. And then speaking of the free throw line, Quincy McKnight was there a lot more than he actually thought he was. Let's go to his sound in a second.
I didn't know I had 13 of them, but I was definitely feeling a little good today. Had a little bounce in my step, a little pep in my step, getting to the line, getting to the basket, being able to retract a couple fouls. I missed a couple of them. I think I missed probably like 4, front end and 1 of 1, and I missed 2 and 2 or something like that. And it's good. I felt good today. Got a good whistle, and it was good.
What did you think of what Quincy had to say?
It was interesting because when I brought up the 13 free throws, he had a visibly surprised look on his face, like, really, that many? I was like, yeah, I'm looking at it, 10 for 13 from the line. So even he was surprised. And Coach Willard, he had a very telling comment. He said, matter-of-factly, Quincy McKnight should be the second leading scorer on this team. Obviously, Miles Powell's number 1. That's no surprise. But he said with what Quincy displays, especially today, getting to the line 13 times, and with the overall game that he has, there's no reason why he can't be the second leading scorer. He's a third leading scorer, so it's splitting hairs a little bit. But I think the point was made that when Quincy is locked in and on his game, he can be every bit as good as Miles Powell often is for this team.
And we would be hard pressed not to talk about this because you and I were talking about this during the game. Sanju Mamakulishvili. He did not play the whole second half. And you and I were looking at each other, does he have some sort of injury? Right. But of course, Coach Willard was asked about that, and what did he say, Matt?
He just said he didn't play well.
He didn't play well, and he sat down. Exactly.
And it's refreshing to hear that from a coach because sometimes they'll say, well, he was sluggish, he was this, he was that. Coach Willard came around and said, Sanjo did not play well.
He just did not play well. We couldn't even get sound on it, folks. It was just so quickly. That's exactly. It was maybe like a 5-word answer. Yeah. It certainly was. Let's look at what the future holds for the Seton Hall Pirates because they go to an absolute battle at the Battle for Atlantis down in the Bahamas. Exactly. I mean, some of the teams that are in this tournament, of course, Seton Hall starts Wednesday night against Oregon, which is not an easy opponent, of course, top 25 team. Yep. But other teams include Michigan, Iowa State, University of North Carolina, Gonzaga, Alabama, of course, Southern Miss is in it as well. I mean, tough test for them, correct, Matt?
It's going to be a tough test, but something I tried to get out of Coach Willard, which he wasn't biting on, I said, okay, you've got these tough opponents. What do these opponents think about you? Because Seton Hall's a tough team for them, so it goes both ways. He wouldn't take the bait. He said, I got to ask them. I'm not sure. So
exactly.
I tried.
He did.
He didn't take the bait. But again, for as tough as these teams are going to be for the Pirates are going to be just as tough for them. So it's going to be just a great tournament. And the beauty of the tournament for the fans, not so much the coaches and players, is that you don't know who they're going to play day 2 and day 3. That's determined by the outcomes of the other games. So spin the wheel. We'll see who they play, and but regardless of who they play, it's going to be a very fun, entertaining, intense tournament.
So fun. We cannot wait. And Miles Powell was actually asked about this post-game. Let's hear what he had to say.
I feel like it's just making us who we are. I mean, Coach would never made the schedule if he didn't believe in us and he didn't think that we can do it. And like I said, we're battle testing, and everybody that we're facing is nothing that we haven't seen before. And learn down the line when the Big East coming in and you need to win at Xavier or at a Marquette and at one of the top-ranked schools. This stretch right here that we're going through is going to help us a lot. So I have no doubt in Coach that I know he knows what he's doing. I never questioned him in the 4 years I've been here, and I'm never going to start. So, I mean, Coach Willard knows what he's doing.
Thanks, man.
No problem. Yep. Thanks.
All right, as you can see from Miles Powell, he doesn't look like he's really scared of anybody.
No.
I mean, when you're arguably the best player in the country, would you be scared?
Why me worry?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Matt, I have to ask you because with 3 minutes to go in this game, Coach Willard was really going deep in his bench. Right. I mean, Darnell Brody was on the court. Torian Thompson was on the court. Event was on the court. Isaiah Event, was on the court. Do you think we're actually going to see these players Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at the Battle for Atlantis?
As Seton Hall, if you're a Seton Hall fan, you want to say, I hope so, because that means, it could be one of two things. Either they're blowing out the other team or they're getting blown out.
Exactly.
So either scenario could get those guys on the court. You hope it's the former, that they're blowing out the other team. I highly doubt we're going to see them in action in this tournament. It's going to be the marquee players. You're not going to go too deep into your bench, maybe 3-4 players deep. And I think that goes for every team because it's just going to be great, close, intense games all throughout, and that's what you're hoping for as a fan.
Exactly. And you know what? If you do see him on the court, it might be because Seton Hall has a blowout going, right?
That's
just like today.
Exactly.
I mean, well, Matt, this was fun. So thank you so much for joining us this week. I mean, we hope to be back for many more home games coming up in the future. Folks, when we come back, we're going to be back in studio. And Daria DeLucia of At Hoboken Eats will be reviewing Anthony David's restaurants in Hoboken. You're not going to want to miss it. For Matt Waymeyer here at the Prudential Center, again, thank you for joining us. We got some pigeons rolling around here. They do have the doors open. We will be right back. Peter Biancamano, your hostess with the mostest of the Pulse with Peter B. Folks, get on our YouTube page and subscribe to our channel. We have all of the past episodes that you're not going to want to miss. And if you did watch them, why don't you rewatch them? They're so entertaining. Also, if you have any questions for me, for Josh, for Mike, Krista, or Daria, or Jay or Matt, please email us at thepulsewithpeterb@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you. Welcome back to the Pulse with Peter B. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano, and this is our Places with Peter B segment, joined by the lovely Daria DeLucia of At Hoboken Eats. Daria, how are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to talk food today.
Oh, I'm excited that you're on talking food. I mean, because you just make us hungry every week here. You really, really
do. It's my job. It's what I do.
It is her job, folks. It is her job. So, Daria, today we're going to be talking about Anthony David's restaurants.
Yeah.
And it's located at 953 Bloomfield Street, on the corner of 9, between 9th and 10th, we'll say, in the beautiful city of Hoboken, New Jersey. And Daria, I have to be honest with you. You know, I live 2 blocks away. I grew up 3 blocks away from there, and Anthony Davis has been a staple in the neighborhood for so long, I feel like.
Yeah.
What do you, and every time I drive by or walk by, it is mobbed. What do you think brings people back there?
The food.
Ha! I knew that was coming.
That's what brings me back every time, and I've been there a lot. This place is one of my favorites, and it actually was only a few blocks from my old apartment, and I would go there all the time. You can go there, put your name in, go get a drink somewhere, and come back, and you'll be ready. And I tell you, the lines, and this is nothing against them, the lines are insane sometimes for brunch just because of how good the food is. I'm not a line person, and I wait every time. It's
and
worth
she
it.
waits every
It's worth waiting for.
It's so funny because I have other people, some of my neighbors talk to me because there's a tattoo shop right next door. I don't know if you knew that, right? Yeah. And literally people are like, you know,
look at a tattoo.
Exactly, like they might get a tattoo while they're waiting or something like that. So the owner of the tattoo shop, my friend Pat McAfee, he's a great guy. Visit him. I mean, he's always like, you know, this restaurant's like the best thing for my business right now.
I can imagine. It's honestly, whenever we have people come in from out of town to visit, we take them there for brunch. Every time.
So let's talk about their brunch.
Okay.
What do you like? What's on the menu?
Okay, so here's a pro tip. You heard it here first. You always need to start with their donuts. They have a bourbon glaze.
Donuts? What?
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Bourbon glaze or Nutella.
Just 2.
Just 2. Why have more when you already kill the 2 that you have? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So talk to me about the bourbon glaze.
You get 4 in an order.
4.
Yes.
So they're mini.
The mini. They're donut holes. We'll call them munchkins. We'll call them munchkins. But they have on their menu. They're called donuts, and I mean the bourbon glaze is my favorite. If you like Nutella, get the Nutella. If you like bourbon glaze, when I love them. I have 2, and then I save the other ones for after my meal.
Oh my God.
Little appetizer, little dessert.
Unbelievable. She knows what she's doing. I mean, this is At Hoboken Eats, man. I mean, so now let's talk about these. Is it filled with Nutella and filled with bourbon?
On top. It's just little beautiful little fried dough with the glaze on top.
So
yeah, it's amazing. So that's where you start.
That's where you start. That's not going to fill me. Let me look at the size of it.
It's gonna like open your stomach a little bit. Get ready for the real party. So then we go into like your dish.
Mm-hmm.
The eggs Benedicts they have. I mean, we have everything from crab cakes, eggs Benedict, to lobster eggs Benedict. They have a guac and spicy chorizo eggs Benedict.
What?
Yeah, I know, absolutely.
That's a first there, folks. I love it.
They have about 6 different eggs Benedicts on their menu, and it's all of them. They have a truffle one. All of them are absolutely phenomenal. I think it's truffle and ricotta. It's so good. I literally did the bread and the ricotta. It's so good.
Because you're taking a traditional dish like eggs Benedict,
and you're elevating it.
You're elevating
it, and it's And that's with their dinner and with their brunch. We're not going to get off brunch yet, because I'm not done.
Oh, she's not. I can tell that she's not.
Got my finger going. That's how you know I'm
Apparently
passing on something.
You know, my Italianness is wearing off on Delucci, even though she's only half. So.
According to my dad, I'm 100. So.
No, I think her dad's a smart man.
Yeah. So they take everything that they do, and it's also very seasonal. Not so much with their brunch; it's pretty. They keep that kind of the same, but their dinner is very seasonal. So they're constantly switching that, but they're taking regular dishes and they're elevating it. And I feel like that's a kind of a thread we see through a lot of Hoboken restaurants in this area. They try and elevate, already existing concepts of food. So the eggs Benedict, they take it and they make 6 different variations of it. It gives something for everybody.
Wow.
Yeah. But if eggs Benedict aren't your thing,
Talk to me.
the burrata panini.
Burrata.
It sounds so simple, and when I ordered it, I just was like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna look for. I don't know. I'm just gonna get something that is simple. It is not.
And it's on the brunch menu.
It's on the brunch menu. Yes, because they also have breakfast and lunch.
I see.
Brunch.
I see.
Brunch.
Yeah, I know what brunch is. No, but let's talk about their dinner menu really quickly,
Okay.
because it's mobbed at dinner time too.
Always.
Anthony Pino,
Always.
by the way, who's the chef and owner over there, he's a great guy, and he
does
really
something
does class
special.
work. He also owns Big Fit 14 on 13th and Washington.
Yeah.
But talk to me about their dinner menu.
Dinner is absolutely amazing. It's interesting too because a lot of their appetizers have vegetables. So they have like an artichoke with shaved Parmesan. They have an asparagus with another with cheese on it too. They really take a lot of like local fresh ingredients and they just make them delectable. You can bring your kids there and get them to eat vegetables, and they would absolutely love it and have no idea that it's a vegetable.
I'm sure he doesn't put like a little sugar on the vegetables. I'm just kidding around. Anthony, I'm kidding around. You're a great guy. But that's just unbelievable. Now, are they BYOB?
They're BYOB.
I thought so.
However, they do sell bottles of wine there. Very select. I have not done it yet, but I know they have them available. I think they only have like 4 different types of wine, but they are advertised as BYOB. So.
But they sell bottles of wine.
They have a
so
couple
they have
of
to. They have to maybe have a liquor license somehow.
Yeah, I think it might be like a local wine that they get from
Interesting.
somewhere. Yeah,
That is very, very interesting.
Yeah, but everybody that you see waiting online, everybody you see in there brings their own. And for brunch, you can bring in whatever you want. And they'll bring like an orange juice or something for you to mix your brunch drink with.
And Daria, let's talk about the ambiance a little, because when it's not the 4 months of the year where it's really nice, or 5 months of the year where it's really nice here, the inside is quite small. Am I right or wrong?
It is small. If you imagine kind of like a Hoboken apartment, long and thin, that's basically it. They get a lot of different small little tables in there in the front section where you see all the windows right on the street.
Correct.
And then you kind of go through. They have 3 different rooms. The back room usually, I've walked by and they use it for events a lot.
Right.
So they're very good at hosting like small dinner parties, large dinner parties. So they're accommodating with that. But the ambiance is cute.
It is cute. But obviously in the summer you'll have a better chance, or in the warmer months we'll just say, you have a better chance of getting a table because they have all of those tables outside.
Yep, the outdoor seating too. Yep.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And, we speak about this a lot on the show. I mean, I actually think Anthony David's is a very good first date spot. Would you say so?
It is. It's actually was my first date with my current boyfriend.
Wow.
For brunch. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Look at that. And he stole your heart because of the food.
Yep. Thank you, Anthony Davids.
Thank you, Anthony Davis. That was smart. A smart move on your part there, Matt.
Yeah.
Oh, I just dropped his name for the first time.
Am I turning red yet? It's fine.
Yeah, it is. She's blushing on camera. This is absolutely fantastic.
Anyway, back to the food.
Back to the food.
Back to the food.
So and back to when's a good time to go in there? Obviously, you go in there Saturday and Sunday for brunch.
Weekends.
You're gonna be getting a few tattoos.
Yeah. You're gonna have a sleep pretty soon. You go there a couple times.
Exactly.
But just really quick to go back to the first date thing. It's also a good place to go with your girlfriends.
Okay.
Me and my girlfriends go there a lot, and it's somewhere that I take again outside, out of town. People who come in. It's people where it's for like a birthday. You get a lot of girlfriends together. You go there. Also like a good double date spot.
Nice.
Yeah, been on a couple of those there. It's good ambiance all around for that too.
It looks very intimate. It really, really
It
does.
is.
And it's kind of like dark. I know, like obviously, it's very romantic, as you say.
Yeah.
Then you'll have plenty of time to dry off your new tattoo. Boy, I am dropping his tattoo shop like this new tomorrow.
Everybody's gotta go.
Everybody's gotta go. Exactly. Pat's gonna be really happy about this. So there's really, folks. As Daria said, there's really not that good of a time to go in because it's always crowded. So Anthony David's, 953 Bloomfield Street, and we will put the hours right here on the graphic. Daria DeLucia, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We are so happy to have you, and we hope to continue having you in the future, and not just out and about. You know, we like you in studio.
You can't get rid of me. I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, that's what she said. We cannot get rid of her, though. We're so happy about that. We really, really are. Well, folks, join us next week for the Pulse on everything you need to know. You're not going to want to miss it. We bring in you great content every week. Folks, we'll see you then. Take care.